What's going on, everybody? This is Mark from Solar Games, and I'm sorry I haven't uploaded videos for a couple days. Been a little bit busy with Brothers War packing, cracking boxes and packing shipments for my customers. Just, catching up everything. We're going to try to get all those orders out by Monday, so hang tight and we'll get them all packed and shipped. But while I'm taking a little break, I wanted to share some thoughts and comments with you about a topic that I think a lot of people won't really like. And that topic is going to be secret rarities. So I've kind of basically proposed this to a bunch of my friends over Discord for a while now. And in general, I would get feedback like, hey, that probably doesn't exist. Or if it does exist, why doesn't bigger channels like Channel Fireball or Card Kingdom talk about it? And the reality, I think, is because, well, why would they risk their reputation for this? Especially when they can get direct from Wizard products, probably at a very preferential price. There's really no need for them to talk about this thing. In fact, by and large, they probably can be done made whole at the end if it's really that bad. But I do want to tell everybody else, because I think this information not being out there is leaving a lot of people in the dark, and you could be really hurt by this if you don't know what you're doing, right? And just so you understand the truth behind what I call secret rarity. So we all know about rarities: common, uncommon, rare, mythic, rare. Foils, I guess, is a different rarity type, but it can go up to serialized cards now, shattered glass. You have a bunch of different rarities now that are available within Magic, right? Some are, of course, limited by the product line, so let's not talk about those. Really, I'm just talking about common, uncommon, rare, and mythic rare. Maybe including the foil versions of those, but that's it. So common, uncommon, we don't really have to talk about it. But I will just make this one comment, which is, if you're opening set boosters, you get as many commons as uncommons. So in my opinion, common uncommons are kind of like the same. So yeah, sure, the cards could be better, could be worse, whatever. But, and if you're opening draft, of course, you're going to have way more commons than there are uncommons. That's to be expected. But if you're opening set boosters, they're about the same. Like, honestly, I would stack the box together. I think the difference is maybe like 20 cards. So if you open the whole box, you have a difference of 20 different cards between common and uncommon. Of course, common is still a little bit more numerous than uncommon, but again, 20 cards is very, very, very minimal difference. But let's talk about rares and mythic rares. So if you don't know what kind of like secret rarity is, think back to Commander Legends Baldur's Gate. What card is the most expensive card out there on the market right now for Commander Legends Baldur's Gate? Ancient Copper Dragon, right? In fact, all of the ancient dragons, silver, gold, bronze, etc., they're all really good. And for, maybe just no reason at all, they're also the most rare of those sets. Now, some people have told me the reason why those cards are more rare or less rare, etc., are because, they have different frames and showcase and whatever, so it dilutes the numbers. As an example, Ancient Copper Dragon does have a showcase frame, borderless, I guess, technically, and a showcase frame, which is the like parchment paper Dungeon Dragon manual version, right? But I propose to you this argument too, which is take, for example, Volo. Volo is a card, also mythic rare. It has a normal frame. It has a showcase frame in the sense that it's edge foil, and it has the showcase frame of the parchment paper Dungeons & Dragons style too, right? But mass box opening Commander Legends Baldur's Gate, I definitely saw way more, maybe a little bit more, but Volos than Ancient Copper Dragons. In fact, for me personally, I think the ratio was about 1 to 3, meaning for every 3 Volos, I would see 1 Ancient Copper Dragon. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. And again, how many boxes I opened for that? I think for Baldur's Gate, I think I did maybe 48 boxes total. So, if you do cases, I think that's like 8 cases, set boosters, right? And of course, I opened other products too, draft packs, bundles, etc. So a bunch of products put together, and yeah, I would still see the same issue or same ratio. And that's the reality. And if you're opening like one box, the variance is so high that you could totally be fine. But what I'm trying to tell the players out there and try to tell people who aren't seeing this because you're not opening enough product to see this is that there is rarity beyond the mythic rare and the rare and those kind of things. Now, let's talk about some other sets, right? So Dominaria United. Which Planeswalker was the best? If you answered Liliana, you're probably right. Which Planeswalker was the worst? If you answered Karn, you're also right. Now, let me ask you this question, which is way more interesting than the previous question. Which Planeswalker do you think appeared the most? If you answered Jaya and Karn, you're absolutely right. Which Planeswalker do you think appeared the least? Yeah. I mean, we don't really have many choices left. So yes, Liliana. And of course, Ajani. So really, from what I was seeing, I think the ratio was about, this is not as bad as, by the way, Baldur's Gate, but the ratio was about 2-to-1. So you would get 2 Karns for every 1 Liliana, etc. 2 Jayas for every 1 Liliana or Ajani. It wasn't as bad and it wasn't as noticeable. Again, opening about the same amount of boxes. I think it was 45 this time. Yeah, basically I would see the same type of ratios. Take it for what it is. You know, you don't have to believe me. But as somebody who's opening a lot of these boxes, I just don't see other people talking about this problem. And there are, of course, obvious mistakes, like in Commander Legends, when they basically forgot to put the rare lands in certain boxes and other boxes had 7. So I saw this really, really early on, where I think I was 7 boxes into my opening and I had hit maybe 2 rare lands, 2 of those buddy lands. And I started panicking. I was like, what is going on? Then of course I opened the 8th box and I get 7 of them. And I'm like, okay, so this is a collation problem. Now, let's jump right into Brothers War. So, Brothers War. Set boosters have Transformer cards. Can you tell me which Transformer you think was the most rare in that set? If you guess Optimus Prime, you're right. And if you look at the pricing, and I haven't checked for a couple days, but if you look at the pricing, I'm pretty sure Optimus is going to be high up there, right? So I'm always thinking, like, why? Why did this happen? How did this happen? What makes this happen where certain collation of certain cards are higher or more frequent than others? The other thing I checked, so probably a lot of you guys didn't know this, but the bundles for Brothers War actually include 1 Transformer card as well as a bonus card. In the bundles, Optimus Prime was also the most rare. In fact, I thought about this too, which is maybe they put Optimus Prime as a little bit more rare because he's kind of like the leader of, the Autobots is kind of like, So I was like, well, who's his counterpart? It would have to be Megatron, right? Who's the leader of, Decepticon. So maybe is Megatron super rare? And the answer is no. In fact, it's so bad, this set, where I believe Megatron, the ratio between Megatron to Optimus Prime, for me at least, opening 6 cases so far, so 24 boosters, is about 6-to-1. So for every 6 Megatrons, I have 1 Optimus Prime. It's not a good day. Okay, moving on to other cards. Teferi, very rare card. You would think the poster boy for Dominaria, the hero who's going to save Dominaria from the Phyrexian, from everything that's ever happened, you would think he would be somewhat frequent, somewhat common. No. See, Teferi's good. People want Teferi. Teferi is also very rare. How rare? In the first case I opened, I had 1 Teferi. In the second case I opened, I had another Teferi. And then from there on, for the next 4 cases, I had 0 Teferis. Now, before you go and say, oh, well, it's because you're opening less mythic rares. Nope. The mythic rare rates are on point. 3 to 5 per box, usually averaging 4 to 5. Sometimes you hit a 6. Really on point. Now, it's super obvious. Here's why. There's another blue mythic rare, one with the multiverse. Guess how many of those I've opened? 8. So, Teferi to one with the multiverse, both blue mythic rares, is 4-to-1. Still don't believe me yet? Okay. So let's talk about something else. Dice. So the bundles came with these what they call oversized dice, right? And this set, for example, was really interesting because they had two different dice. They had the green one and the red one. Okay. Now, of course, it's your personal preference, which one looks better, whatever you want. The bundle only comes with one dice, by the way. It's randomized between the green and the red. You would think it would be a 50-50 random shot, but after opening 15 bundles, I have 12 of these red ones and 3 of these green ones. I really hope there's somebody out there who's holding 13 green ones and 2 red ones and really just want to make a trade with me, so we all have like, what, 7 of each? But I'm also pretty sure that's not true. I'm fairly confident that the green one is just more rare. Now, this one, I would say maybe is just a mistake. But at the same time, I don't know, if we think red stands for Mishra and green stands for Urza, maybe Urza is just a little bit more popular. And so Wizard said, hey, you know, let's make the green one a lot more rare than the red one. Yeah, so that's the thing. So 2 things. Why does this happen? Why does this happen? If we want to just kind of talk logistically, in back old school days, you people know about this, the rare island, etc. We used to have print sheets, right? So they look like basically a sheet of paper that's like, you know, like 11 by 11 or 12 by 12, etc., or 10 by 12, whatever. But basically, you have a shape, and those are the uncut sheet of Magic cards. You would have multiple sheets of this that you would then cut, and then, you know, you would print out the cards. The way these sheets worked is that, you know, the wizards would kind of send these sheets over to the printers, they would print them, but collation isn't done that way anymore. Almost all collation's totally randomized now, and so either wizards sending, again, they don't talk about this because they don't want to tell you and share with you how they're doing it, but they're either randomizing it, so they have basically per print sheet of, let's say, 11 by 11 is always random, of either the rare, the uncommon, the common sheets, etc., or it's done programmatically, meaning like they pre-send, like, let's say, I don't know, 40, 50 different variants, and of course the printer churn through and print them. Now, the fun thing is that because you can tweak rarity, they can essentially tell the machines to print certain cards less than others anyways. So there's that. Now, best case scenario, give wizards all the benefit of doubt that they need right now. This is an honest mistake. But where this argument falls apart is how can they continuously have these honest mistakes every single set? And then please someone explain to me why every single time a card that I find is short printed is more rare than other mythic rares of its own rare class, that card is also the most expensive. That's the best case scenario, is a mistake, and they continuously cannot understand how to deal with QC to make sure that all the rarities are equally rare over, again, large sample size, right? The cynical and negative perspective is that Wizards is intentionally doing this. And hear me out on this, right? So why do this? Well, there is something called an EV for a box. Mythic Rare is something that is more rare than a pack. That's why it's called Mythic Rare. You're not expected to have 1 Mythic Rare per pack like you do with Rare. And so essentially a lot of the calculation for what the expected value for a box is comes in with Mythic Rares, again, stacking up to a certain number. Now, if we take all the Mythic Rares of a certain set as equally rare, right, and all the rares equally rare, etc., you can actually make a pretty good calculation for the expected value of those boxes, right? But if behind the scenes we make certain mythic rares more rare than others, and those more rare mythic rares just so happen to be the more expensive cards, the true expected value of the box is not what can be calculated, because again, we don't have those percentages. So what you have is, on the public market, you're going to have a price, or EV, that is probably higher than the true EV, because the more expensive cards also are the ones that are less likely to show up. Like, as in lesser to show up than other mythic rares. So not all mythic rares are created equal. So essentially what you can do is you can kind of trick people into thinking, hey, this set is really worth it, you should go buy it. But the reality is that actually it's not, because those cards really should have their own rarity like tier. You could call it majestic, whatever, right? And if you don't believe that this is what games are doing, I mean, look at Flesh and Blood. They have 7 different rarity levels, right? So of course they're doing this. They're doing this all the time. Yeah, so I don't know what else to tell you, right? I mean, of course, what I'm saying is just a theory. It's my hypothesis, but it's based on data that I've collected over many, many sets so far now. Another card that was really rare, guess what? Ragavan. Yeah. Wizards knew what they were printing into sets. I'm pretty sure now. The more I look at it, honestly, probably we can, once new Phyrexia all will be one, whatever set comes out, and we all determine which card is the best card, I can pretty guarantee you that card is going to be the most rare as well. And that's just how it is. Yeah. Again, you wouldn't even see this unless you open tons of product. And at this point, I've opened 6 cases, and that's the reality. So whether you like it or not, I just want to make sure you have the facts, and it's just a fair playground for all the players. And you can go out there and make your own decisions based on the data you have. Please ask your friends, ask people who mass box open, come back and tell me if I'm right or wrong. Love to hear it. I'll see you later. Bye.